Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast, the only podcast from Central Maine's best comic book store by default. My name is Zach. With me is my co-host, Jared.
Hello.
Good introduction. You really hooked the listener.
Yes.
All right. I am the owner of Editor's Note Comics. Why don't you swing some credentials their way? Why are you here?
I like movies, and I enjoy good stories. I have a passing interest in comics. I want to learn more, and I'm single. So.
It sounds like your Tinder profile. I just saw this thing that came out last week. It was like the most used term in dating profiles in the state of Maine is like, you like the outdoors. Do you like the outdoors too?
I love the outdoors, actually.
Become a dating show so very, very fast. And it's going to go nowhere.
Hey, the podcast will be my wingman. And
all right, so first thing we're going to talk about. So this whole podcast is going to be talking about comics, TV, movies, anything really pop culture related. I'm going to start each and every week off with talking about not really news because it's not breaking, but more reacting to things that happened that other people reported.
This is good. This is better. I'm a better reactor.
I'm just going to tell you things that happened in the world.
Yes, and I'll feign ignorance.
You won't feign anything.
You're right.
All right, starting off, Batman v Superman news. This is the best pre-summer opening of all time, 7th best of all time, opened with 166.1 million domestic and 424.1 million worldwide.
Isn't it the best that Warner Brothers superhero film has done on opening weekend? I think I'd seen that somewhere.
Yeah, beat out all the other Batman and Superman movies, and since they don't really release anything else, that pretty much did it for them.
I mean, the movie's going to make a ton of money, regardless of what people think, which I know we're going to talk about later, but it's going to make a ton of money for a March opening.
Oh, it'll make $1 billion without trying. And I don't think they tried that hard, but we'll get into that.
Jeez.
I mean, the movie's going to be huge. It's got slammed. It's like a 28% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
I know we're going to talk about it more later, but I think it's a little unfair. But I'm more of the, like I said, I'm more of a casual fan. I like watching the movies. I never really got into reading the books, and maybe that's something I should do. Maybe that'll be a fun thing to chronicle through these podcasts is my diving into actually reading the books. But I know we'll talk about it more later. But I think it's getting a little too much of a harsh rating. And I'm not saying it was spectacular, but I'm not saying it was terrible.
I think some of what's helping it is that it opened in China the same weekend that it opened in the U.S. Usually they don't get the market until like a month later. They knew the reviews were going to be bad, so they just put it out into the world as quickly as possible.
Saturate the market.
Well, they had that review embargo that went on until I think the Tuesday before it came out at 6 p.m. And by 7 p.m. this was just getting slammed. Surprise, surprise, more Batman v Superman news. Coming out this summer, there's going to be an Ultimate R-rated cut, which I'm sure has nothing to do with Deadpool making a ton of money, being an R-rated movie. It's going to have an extra 30 minutes of footage. Scott Snyder was interviewed and he said he doesn't think the movie's too long right now, which is ridiculous.
2.5 hours.
It's 2.5 hours. It's 2 movies in 2.5 hours, so I guess by that rate, yeah, it's not that long. Did you see the Wolverine R-rated cut they put out?
No, I didn't see that R-rated cut.
That was amazing. It was really R-rated to throw in some cursing and to throw ninjas in a snowblower.
Oh, jeez. It's like a Fargo moment.
It's after like the first 5 ninjas, you think they'd avoid it. They don't.
No, well,
it's just a blow.
Do they work for the Empire?
Yeah, they were all just stormtroopers. I really like that cut a lot more just for silly reasons like ninjas and snowblowers. I mean, Deadpool getting their R-rated cut and making so much money. I think this R-rated cut was announced the week after Deadpool came out, and they just started giving some of the details out about it. Like, we're going to flesh out the story, which doesn't happen in the theatrical release.
Well, I think with, like, the difference between, like, the Deadpool R rating and what this R rating is probably going to be is Deadpool was getting pegged, and I don't necessarily see Bruce Wayne or Clark Kent getting pegged. I have a ton of questions and things that I want answered. I wonder if this extra half-hour footage will answer some of those questions.
I have a lot of questions, but it's all about how does it work narratively. Moving on, over the weekend, we had WonderCon in Los Angeles. Now, this is all going to be comic book news. So DC is doing another reboot to their series. Their last one was in 2011 called The New 52. This is going to be called Rebirth, except it's not a reboot. but it's definitely a reboot. They just came out and said, look, things are kind of broken right now. We need to fix them, which, let me tell you, has really helped DC Comics sales in the shop. One of the 3 guys who runs the company says, like, yeah, we're not good right now. Don't. Just wait a couple months.
Which, by the way, I just thought about this when you talk about the shop. For maybe the first-time listener, where is the shop?
Good brand awareness.
Yeah, I'm all about that marketing.
We're throwing this out into the vastness of the internet. Like, if you happen to be driving through Maine.
Yes. Specifically, Water Street in Hollowell.
Oh, there we go. That's where I'm located. Next to Lucky Garden. Sometimes people don't know what that is.
Well,
it's a Chinese place. Good stuff.
There you go. Just advertise for the whole block.
So Rebirth is going to be a total relaunch of DC's comics, all going back to issue 1s. Most of them are going to have new creative teams on it. They're really trying to get in new readers. The price point for most comics is either between $3.99 and $2.99. DC, with the new 52, you could really tell the books that they had faith in. Those were the ones they'd market you at $3.99, and all the ones they were like, hey, come try it out. We're all going for $2.99. Dropping prices across the board to $2.99 and not dropping the page count, which is nice because I assumed they were going to do that.
Now, for me, who's a blithering comic book idiot, is it like all DC comics, like all brands going back to an issue 1?
Everything across the board.
So, like a new, an issue 1 Superman, a new issue 1 Batman.
Everything's going back to an issue 1 except for Action Comics and Detective Comics. They had dropped their original numbering. They were the longest ongoing series. They in their 900s. And DC really just wants to have something hit 1,000. So Action, Superman's first book, and Detective that Batman came in at issue 27. They're going to bring those back to their original numbering just so they can hit that 1,000 mark at a digit.
There you go.
Some of it, they had a panel over the weekend. It was their first live stream. It was a 2-hour event. I streamed it in the store. It was really boring. It was all that because I still don't really know if it's a reboot or if it's just a relaunch. I think it's probably a little both. But all they did was announce the creative teams. Didn't really talk about what it was in terms of the story, what's going to count, what doesn't. It was, and I know more information has dropped since that happened. But after those 2 hours, I can't bring myself to watch any more video.
So they just like troll out a bunch of different people on ink. Tom Jones, coloring. Steve Smith.
Guy. How did you get here?
I drove. And you asked me.
Fair. I didn't. So last time when they did the New 52, the big thing, or one of the big things was they had one female writer. That was a huge. Everyone was just DC sexist, blah blah blah, like women unrepresented in the books and also with the creatives. They trolled out a ton of female creators, which is fine, but it seemed like a reaction because they just got a bunch of TV writers, which isn't a bad thing, but you're bringing out the relaunch isn't going to be that. I forget the number of books. It's like 30 odd titles they're relaunching compared to 52 last time, which had dropped down from like 78 or something ridiculous. But bringing on a lot of inexperienced writers, I feel like just so they don't have to have that backlash. Maybe the books will be good. I mean, that'd be great, but it's just one of those things when they're bringing a bunch of different people out onto the stage at the time, but then they're like, and here are all the female writers all at once. Like, okay, yeah. No, I remember the backlash too. I guess you guys haven't forgotten either.
So when are these going to hit the shelves?
There's an 80-page special coming out at the end of May. They haven't done an 80-page in a couple of years, which will be nice, and then everything is going to launch in June. The big news is Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's Batman, that's coming to an end at issue 52. And Snyder kept on tweeting out stuff like, I'm not done with Batman, I'm not done with Batman. Everyone thought he was going to go to Detective. But what it is he's going to be starting a new book, All-Star Batman, not to be confused with Frank Miller's mess of a book, All-Star Batman and Robin from 2005. It was kind of weird about it because they've done this seminal run on the book. And they have Tom King coming on to Batman, which is great. He's a great writer. But it felt like it was really undercut by having this rock star of a Batman writer also have his own Batman title kind of spinning off of that. So I felt kind of bad for Tom King. You look riveted.
I am the self-professed comic book idiot. I mean, I know the name Zack Snyder. I got that going for me.
I said Scott Snyder.
Oh, Scott Snyder.
Different thing. Scott Snyder, comic book writer. Zack Snyder, director of things.
Yes.
Sometimes it's about owls. Sometimes it's about Superman.
Sometimes it's about Spartan warriors.
Look, I don't know what Sucker Punch was about. I can't even give an analogy of that one. Crazy, I don't know, Nut House Dreams and Fantasies. Don't watch that movie. That's a bad movie.
Just felt like the pilot from Airplane. Do you like movies about gladiators?
Either way, Rebirth's coming. DC does feel a little broken right now. So if they're willing to at least admit it and try and right the ship, whatever, go for it.
How much of that do you think is because the MCU and Marvel are doing so well financially because of their movies, and their movies are hits every time? Do you think, this is a question I was going to ask when we got into breaking down Batman v Superman, do you think that DC is trying to play catch up now?
DC, I mean, the books for DC, if anything, they were relying too heavily on the movies and TV shows. You have a book like Green Arrow, which what I love is one of my favorite books before the New 52 relaunch. And since they tried to make it more like the show Arrow, which is all dark and gritty, it's been kind of garbage. And, I mean, I love the old Green Arrow character. He was such a characterization, and he would play off so many other DC characters because he was just the biggest loudmouth, hardcore, like bleeding heart liberal, and it was really entertaining to pit him up against like characters who had different ideologies. And then they just made him like a brooding whiner. Yeah, just like the show. Great.
Nice.
I mean, that happens all the time. You'll have even they talked about their new Suicide Squad team lineup, and they're like, oh, we can't remember all the characters, but here are all the ones that. Oh, by the way, they're the exact same one as the movie. They didn't say that, but.
Which I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad. I thought the trailer that was attached to Batman v Superman was good.
Hey, they got some faith in that movie if they're willing to pay rights for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
If you're willing to pay money for a trailer on that, get some faith in that film. Moving on to a little bit more news, I just wanted to cover a little bit of Ninja Turtles news coming out of WonderCon. They have, speaking of Arrow, Stephen Amell, who's going to be playing Casey Jones. There's going to be a minor change to the character. He's going to be a corrections officer instead of the comic origin of a guy who just really likes 80s action flicks and wants to punch people in the face.
See, now we're talking. That's my kind of like a Steven Seagal kind of guy.
But I don't know. It's a little weird just because, but there's a lesser known character in that whole universe who went by the name of Nobody, who was a police officer who at night was kind of a Batman-esque vigilante. So if they're kind of pulling from some of the Nobody stuff, whatever, great, go for it. Probably going to be a bad movie. That's fine. They said, and truly the greatest actress of our time, Megan Fox, said that April is going to be less focused on her job and more focused on actually interacting with some of the Turtles characters, which the first movie was just an April O'Neil movie.
Well, more Megan Fox
with
less CGI turtle.
No, that's what it was last time, and it was terrible.
No, I'm excited to see what they do with this, the second film. I think it's gonna be cool to see Bebop and Rocksteady and Dimension X playing a role in the movie. The trailer just very Michael Bay. The trailer, just a lot of action, a lot of things blowing up.
It's kind of unreal. I watched this last night. They did on the current cartoon show on Nick. They did a crossover with the original Turtles that happened over the weekend. You can watch it online at the Nickelodeon website. Don't need to really plug for them, but it's worth watching. It was a lot of fun.
Really? So it was like the old school like Turtles from like
the
90s, 80s and 90s.
Yeah, in 2009 they did this special called Turtles Forever, but I don't really know the ins and outs.
Is that the one where they meet the Power Rangers?
No, that was in how would they call that show? I forget the name of it off the top of my head.
I saw a great meme about that over the weekend, and it was like titled "When Your High School Friends Meet Your College Friends," and the Turtles were on one side and the Power Rangers were on the other.
That was from that live action show that I'm blanking on the name of, and now like nerds are screaming at me for not remembering. No, I saw that when it happened, and that was like 96, 97. It was bad then. It's bad now. No, they took for the thing that happened over the weekend. I guess there was 2 different voice acting guilds in animation. In 2009, they did this whole special of crossing over all these different universes, but it was through a different voice acting guild, so they couldn't get the original actors.
Mm-hmm.
But for this, I guess it all lined up, so they were able to get all the original voice actors except for the guy from Fresh Prince who's dead.
Yes, Uncle
Phil.
Uncle Phil. Avery Brooks, James Avery.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. I'm just gonna say you're right. But I don't know. It was a lot of fun to watch. That's unrelated to the movie, but check it out. It was entertaining. 28-year-old man sitting in his basement watching children's programming.
Yes. I mean, everything's new again. You get Full House coming, like Fuller House now. They're going to come back, Boy Meets World, and now Girl Meets World, and now you kind of got the old Turtle voices back for a nostalgia run there.
Yeah, everything old is new again.
We're at the age where these things are becoming nostalgic, and that makes me feel old.
You just picked up a beer when you said that.
Well, I remember we were talking about the rules of the podcast. Today. I didn't know if you wanted me to just announce to everybody that I was saddened by the fact that I'm older now and I was going to drink to that.
general guidelines of what we're doing. I like to keep the shop kind of age appropriate for everyone. I'm going to attempt to try and do that for the show too, except about pegging apparently. Because, age appropriate.
Well, it happened in the movie.
It did. Would you bring a 9-year-old to that?
No, I probably would not. Although I was listening to...
I would, but I'm irresponsible.
Well, yes. But in order to prepare for tonight, I listened to the recent Hollywood Babylon, and I think Kevin Smith was saying that he would take his kid to see Deadpool over Batman v Superman, even though there was pegging, just because he was trying to explain there's a moral to the story, there's a message behind Deadpool, and it's hard to find a message in the Batman v Superman movie that you could latch on to a kid, other than you could just be a really emo alien from a different planet and an asshole-ish Batman.
I thought the message was punch people to prove who's the bigger jerk.
This is true. With chemical warfare.
It was a movie for bullies.
Yes.
All right. So that brings us to the topic for this week. Batman v Superman came out over the weekend. It is, like I said earlier, but a 28% at Rotten Tomatoes. I want to kind of talk about how this movie came about. So, 2008, Marvel kicks off their whole cinematic universe with Iron Man. Within 3 months, they got the Incredible Hulk. They were off and running from the get-go. And I'm going to be fair to DC here and Warner Brothers. Marvel Studios only puts out Marvel movies. Warner Brothers puts out a lot of unsuccessful movies.
Oh, jeez.
But I mean, they're a movie studio who does more than just the comic book thing. So they really don't have, or I assume they don't have, the power to just pump these out at the same regularity Marvel does.
I would imagine no. I mean, think about all the other things that Warner Brother has their hands in. And like you said, Marvel Studios is focused on making Marvel movies. So that's why they're able to put one out every year, pretty much.
And then after that, we get to Comic-Con. Harry Lennox comes up to the stage and he does this whole speech from Dark Knight Returns of Batman just beating down Superman. And people freak out. Logo shows up on the screen. You got the whole kind of Frank Miller-esque Bat logo with the Superman S inside of it. All right, so people freak out. They know it's going to be kind of like Dark Knight Returns. We got Frank Miller's work kind of coming to the screen, which... not the most exciting thing. Every single Batman movie has kind of stolen from Dark Knight Returns to a point. There are other Batman stories. Tell something different. But either way, it's, characters have never been on screen. It's exciting. So Man of Steel, 2013. We get the release date. Batman, untitled at this point. The Batman Superman movie, coming out 2015. It's not 2015.
No, it's 2016 yeah. Now.
It gets pushed back, gets the divisive name of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, which I didn't have an issue with at the time. I got an issue with now, but we'll get into that.
I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
That's why you're here.
Yes.
You're here to be a soundboard.
Yes, pretty much. But I have thoughts, I have questions, I have feelings.
Are you not a number?
I am not a number.
I am a man. So we get a release date coming out in 2016, first weekend in May. But historically, Marvel in the last couple of years has been hitting up that first weekend in May. It's announced Captain America 3 is coming out then, and it's not known what the movie is at the time. Head of Warner Brothers comes out. He's like, we're not going to blink. We will come out that day. And people are like, whoa, which movie's going to make more money? Who's going to do it? And Warner Brothers blinked.
Well, I mean, again, it's going to go to the point, and something I want to talk about and hit on is, and I mentioned it earlier, I feel like Marvel, again, you made the point that Marvel makes Marvel movies, but Marvel has a plan. This is a multi-year story arc. It's all revolving around the Infinity Stones, the Infinity Gems, whatever the correct terminology is going to be. I know in the
Gemstones.
Gemstones. the Infinity Rhinestones.
They're bedazzled.
Yes. But it's all falling into a plan. This is a long-ranging arc. There's there's a reason why it's called the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because it's a whole arcing storyline. This is for me, the fourth Batman. It's the fourth person to play Batman, but it's like the fourth Batman reboot. Because you had the Keaton movies, then you had, lump in the Val Kilmer, George Clooney shit, and then you had the Batman, the Dark Knight series. So this is for me, it's the fourth reboot of Batman.
Poor Adam West.
It's on the movie screen. On
poor Adam West. They did one season of television and had a movie rocking that one after 1 year.
Okay, pop whiz bang.
Love me some Adam West.
Yes, but Mayor Adam West. But I just feel like, it was smart because Marvel wasn't going to budge, because they knew that people, want to see this movie because the Civil War books.
That wasn't even announced yet when this happened.
But I mean, you had to have a feeling that it was leaning toward that anyway.
We haven't had a podcast in the last 3 years, so I'm like summing up 3 years of knowledge. Let's pretend we've had this podcast.
28 years of life just in less than an hour and a half.
Let's try.
Yes.
I got thoughts.
But I just feel like, it was probably smarter for DC to move Batman v Superman back away from the Marvel movie. But I think ultimately it's going to probably help Captain America make just as much money, if not more, because people are going to kind of want to clamor to see a Marvel movie again after Batman v Superman. Or a superhero movie in general.
I thought it was smart. I wasn't thinking like DC. I mean, I said like DC blinked, which is true. But I mean, at the same time, they're putting their brand out there first. I mean, you could, if people don't want to go see, there's like 10 different comic book movies coming out this year. And if people don't want to go to 10 different comic book movies, maybe if you hit the market early, you'll have a better chance. I mean, the numbers are good. The numbers are great. No matter what critics and fans are saying, the movie's going to make money. It has made money.
Yeah. There's been a lot of... I'm just thinking about this. The number of comic book movies in the last 10 years is unbelievable. Why is that? What do you think?
I don't know. People really overreact to... there's always this reaction of Batman and Robin killed comic book movies for a long time. It really didn't. They came out in 97. Blade hit in 98. And Blade was kind of the first good comic book movie in a while. It's not even... There were other comic book movies. People just didn't know like they were necessarily comic book properties. Stuff like Men in Black, Road to Perdition. Like these are all comic book movies. People just don't know.
Daredevil in 2002, 2003.
Oh, people knew that was a comic book and that was terrible.
Poor Ben Affleck.
Once Blade hit and then Spider-Man, X-Men, it was just... Because, I mean, anytime there's going to be kind of a big studio reaction, whatever that is, it's going to take a couple of years to get off the ground.
Yeah.
And when a couple of them started hitting, and then once we got through the kind of terrible early to mid 2000s, and when like you would get kind of excited, like, well, that was kind of close to a comic book. Like you would just have to be like, all right, like even like Batman or Robin at the time, it's like, you mentioned Superman, guess that's as close as we're gonna get.
Well, in Batman or Batman Forever, he talks about Metropolis. He's like, the circus is probably halfway to Metropolis by now, when Dick Grayson is homeless after his parents are killed at the Gotham, which by the way brings up the point. The circus is halfway to Gotham, and they're using this universe's like geography, and then they're just like 2 exits down on the freeway.
I mean, this universe is like Metropolis is supposed to be New York, Gotham's supposed to be Chicago. It's kind of.
I was talking about that with my buddy Dewey today, who loves the movie. He's a huge Batman guy. I was reading that like Metropolis is New York City during the day and Gotham is New York City at night. It was like one kind of.
And back in, DC's rebooted many times, but Gotham for a while was located out of New York as far as its kind of home state, but now it's kind of ambiguous of... the DC universe focuses on cities, not on states.
Yes. However, Smallville, Kansas, that plays a role.
Yes, Smallville, Kansas is very well defined at this point. But I mean, they have such generic names, like, oh, it's Coast City.
Coast.
It doesn't matter.
Well, Superman and Lois came to Cape Neddick once to have lobster rolls.
Yes, they did, which is a town in Maine. I didn't know that at the time.
Pine Tree State.
I learned things.
You've only lived in the state your entire life.
I was in Jersey for a bit.
Fair enough.
In Massachusetts. I lived places. Saw the world. I saw some of the East Coast.
So, Philadelphia, New Jersey.
Hey, I went to the city. So that's kind of pre-movie. All right. Hype. How are you feeling?
I was excited. I wanted to, it was one of those, it felt important. It was the first time that we're going to see Batman and Superman together. I was excited for a new Batman. I thought Man of Steel is like, I don't know. I'm kind of tired of origin stories, which I want to hit on when we get into the spoiler part of the podcast. But, I felt Man of Steel was it was an interesting take on the Superman origin. I liked it better than Superman Returns.
That's because all he did in that movie was lift a giant rock.
He lifted a giant rock. The highlight of the movie for me was Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. I thought he did a great job as Lex Luthor in that movie.
I had more fun watching the behind the scenes of that movie because they had Kevin Spacey's riding around the Warner Brothers lot in a golf cart with a megaphone. So like, Superman must die, and he's dragging a Superman doll with a noose around his neck behind his little golf cart.
That's morbid, but
it's a lot more entertaining than that movie.
Well, we saw that. We went to that at a midnight showing.
No, we saw the. It wasn't anything special. We saw that at a preview show that was 3 days early.
Yeah, but it was at midnight. I remember it was a late night.
So it was was it a preview at midnight? Is that what it was? Either way, we saw it a couple days early.
Yeah, it was. We went to. Yeah, we drove up to Waterville in the middle of the night.
And even we were really excited about it at the time, but I think
I remember the titles hit, and they were like the Richard Donner titles. The big trumpet fanfare and the blue lettering flying through space.
It didn't take like 15 minutes like the Donner flick, so that was nice.
No, you had to clean your seat up initially. You were all like, "Oh my God, it's the Donner lettering!" And then, then it was downhill from there.
I didn't really fall in love with like the kind of referential stuff like when we first saw it, but and you even saw it with this new movie. Like people who have like the opportunity to see preview screenings, or people who are kind of like. Environment matters a lot, like when you're in a theater. Like if you're with people who are hyped about it, you're going to enjoy it more.
See, I was in a theater with like 8 people. There was not a lot of people. Granted, it was like Monday afternoon, and it was raining, and it was Monday afternoon.
I was really glad it was a loud movie, because when I get in there, there's some people in the back, and it's the theater that we go to is nice. It has all those kind of seats that you get to pick ahead of time.
I actually ended up going to the Auburn Theater.
Oh, really?
Because it was the earlier show yesterday, because I didn't want to be out super, super late on a work night. They had the old style theaters. It wasn't a bad theater, and it was $6. $6.
I paid more, but I also got the centermost seat, so the surround sound was pointing at me. I had the master seat.
Oh, there it is. The master seat comment.
But whenever there's kind of a break in between the trailers, I hear all these people in the background who are just insanely drunk. Like, I had half a bottle of wine and 4 beers. Go wax on! But the movie was really loud, so I couldn't hear them. Oh. If they were able to keep that up for 2.5 hours, I didn't know if I was going to be mad or impressed.
But probably a mix of both. That's what you get for being in the master seat. All the audio was pointed at you. All right, so
Superman Returns. We liked it for about a week.
Yes.
I mean, that was another one. I remember, I think more than this movie. That was an insane marketing push. You couldn't go anywhere. Like, everywhere you went, you saw, like, standees of Superman. Superman's on.
Superman's a big deal, though.
Like, do you remember how much marketing there was for that movie at the time?
Superman's truth, justice, in the American way. Like, there's nothing.
Yeah, not anymore. He gave up on America. Now he's a citizen of the world.
Well, it's the only world. It's the only world he has left. He's homebred American from the heartland of America. Grew up in Kansas. And et cetera. Like, he's like the American.
He's an immigrant, and Batman wants to build a wall. That's the whole movie.
Bat Trump.
Really wants to keep those aliens out.
But I will say this, and I'll get into more. For all of the flaws in the movie, I really enjoyed. Like, for me, that's what Batman I've always felt was supposed to be like. Kind of grizzled. Maybe he was a little too pissed off. I was trying to figure out like why he was pissed off. Well, I guess we'll talk more about that later, but. I mean, I thought Affleck did a good job.
All right, so this is going to be a smooth segue. Came very naturally.
Thank you.
It didn't.
It was the worst. Those 4 years of broadcasting school really paid off.
Yeah, you should have more experience with this.
Yeah, 34 minutes into this.
Are we really? Oh, wow, we are. Now 33 and change.
Okay.
All right, so now we're going to actually get into, and I would like to try and keep this podcast kind of concise. I listen to a lot of podcasts where it's like, it just goes on too long, and I'll see the running time. I'm like, this is more of a commitment.
My guess is people that are listening to this podcast are like skipping to the part where we talk about the movie.
Yeah, I like the banter. I could derail this so quickly.
Yes.
All right, so now we're going to get into the review of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. We're going to start off non-spoilers, and then we're going to get into spoiler territory for those who haven't seen it. Although, if you're listening to this podcast, I imagine you're in that.
First of all, congratulations for finding it.
Yeah, we can reach so many people.
You're going to hashtag like all sorts of obscure things. Hashtag bonsai tree making. And some person's going to be like, oh, look, a podcast.
I just do hashtag jar of piss.
Oh.
And I'll find people.
Grandma's sweet tea.
That was weird. We'll get into that.
Yes.
So congratulations, DC. You're the first comic book movie where I've seen a jar of pee.
Excellent.
You're really.
There's your one spoiler in the spoiler-free section of the review.
I mean,
a jar of piss.
Okay, so going to this movie. All right. Do you want to start it out with some thoughts? Because I
feel like I'm going to be a little more.
I need to gather myself. I can start with some positives.
I liked it though. I liked it from like the standpoint of like the casual fan. I know some of the basic story line of the general story arc of some of these characters. I enjoy Superman. I enjoy Batman when it's not George Clooney or Val Kilmer. Although I didn't hate the Val Kilmer Batman, but I thought that it definitely, as the movie was started and it was starting to move, I reminded myself like this is a different universe. This is not the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight universe. This isn't the Tim Burton Michael Schumacher universe.
Michael Schumacher.
Or is it? Oh no,
Michael Keaton, Michael Schumacher.
No. It was the producer. Oh, Joel Schumacher.
The producer. What was?
Oh yeah, Joel Schumacher.
Nah, I'm not gonna.
I see. I totally. See, I didn't have to worry about like discrediting myself because I had no credit. I don't run the comic book store. I just come in and play the pinball machine and look at the fantastic stories of sports. But
all the Batman movies are produced by Michael Uslan, who, if you had the opportunity to see, is one of the best public speakers I've ever seen. Certainly better than me sitting in my own home.
Yes, in your comic book trophy room.
I was going to say, it's definitely not a man cave. Men would not be found here.
I'm sitting underneath the Mouth of Sauron helmet, the Serenity ship, some guy with an axe.
That's a Reaver.
Oh, it's a Reaver? Okay.
That's a Serenity movie prop.
What you hear this thing?
Yeah, that bull. That's a...
Because this is...
because
a podcast is so visual.
I know, so put it down.
Okay.
Don't break it. It's ceramic.
Oh, sorry. It looks like something you could drink sake out of.
You could.
Why
not?
Anyway, back to the... Wow, derailed again. I enjoyed it. I thought there were...
More than your Michael Schumacher?
Yes. That sounds like a drink. I'll have a Michael Schumacher, please. I thought that it was slow in parts, and I felt like it was always like... trying to figure out people's motivations for what they were doing at times was a bit convoluted. It was dark. The movie was dark. There was no real brightness in it. I mean, it felt like a lot of it took place at night.
Well, yeah, that's because a lot of it was CG, and you can't mask that in the day as easily.
Yeah.
Here's the main problem with this movie is right up front. They call it Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Right there. This is attempting to be two totally separate movies. It might have worked as a Batman versus Superman movie, or it might have worked as like an intro to the Justice League. But either way, they tried to do too much. 2.5 hours, they couldn't cram it in. Now we're going to get this extended cut. I shouldn't have to look forward to an extra 30 minutes of footage in a 2.5 hour movie.
See, I think the reason why they're doing that is I feel that they're feeling the need to get caught up to the MCU. Because, I mean, right now you've got 2 Avengers movies out. They've already pieced almost everything together in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They've all had the origin stories for all of the main players, all right? So they've got them all together. They've had their whole superstar cast together for 2 massive movies.
You're really hitting those hard P's. I'm watching the audio.
I popped the P. Again, 4 years of broadcast school. Really. This is like microphone technique.
And this is the closest you've gotten to success.
Yes, it is, sadly. But I feel like, again, DC is trying to play catch up. And when we get into some of the spoiler stuff, again, I feel like they're trying to get caught up to where the Marvel Cinematic Universe is, and you just can't do it in one movie.
I've always, and I think they did it poorly, but I just thought, or my assumption since DC announced their kind of lineup is that they were doing the opposite approach, is they didn't want no matter what they're going to be compared, there's always been competition. Competition is good. Competition makes people try harder.
Yeah.
Or it's supposed to.
I just pray to God we don't get an Aquaman movie.
Yeah, we are. We're getting out as the Fast and the Furious guy doing that. James Wan, he came out over the weekend. He's like, just so we're clear, my movie's going to be fun. Like, way to distance yourself as fast as possible.
Well, Aquaman is just not even to join the Justice League.
He's like, no, my movie, well, people will actually enjoy themselves.
Anyway.
The structure of this movie is a mess. I felt like it was just edited to death. It was one of those movies where you could feel that scenes were cut out. And even things being rearranged. Like, this isn't really spoiling anything. Batman is looking for this one thing. They don't know what it is. It's called the White Portuguese. Except he's looking for the White Portuguese before the White Portuguese enters the store and does anything that would make Batman look for it. I was like,
no, I mean, I think there's probably a little back to it. Again, that might be in some of the stuff that's cut out. I understood that and how that all tied together, and we'll talk about that when we get to the spoiler section.
It's a boat! It's a boat. He's looking for a boat that has a thing, but the boat doesn't have the thing when he's looking for the boat.
But it
just sounds like he's looking for someone racially insensitive.
He doesn't see that's like you didn't pick up on that. He didn't know he was looking for a boat at the time until he got.
But why would you look for a boat if the boat's not doing anything?
He didn't know he was looking for a boat.
That's like saying I'm going to go look for like sunshine in the harbor.
He kept thinking
it's the name of a random boat. I don't know what it's doing, but I'm going to go find sunshine in the harbor.
The world's greatest detective thought he was looking for a person who was a white Portuguese person.
He was not the world's greatest detective. He's kind of a moron. But we'll get into why he's a moron in spoilers. He's dumb. Real dumb.
He's old.
Yeah, so Batman is senile to you.
No, but I like that it kind of showed like a more vulnerable side to Batman.
Batman in this, he's a little too Iron Man. I mean, I think it was kind of a reaction, like, oh, this works, like he's kind of the bad boy, but they show, and people always talk like Batman's one rule is no killing. Batman really doesn't do three things. Batman doesn't drink, doesn't kill people, and doesn't bang random chicks. Batman does all of these things in this movie.
I thought one of the best lines in the movie was when Alfred was like, hopefully your sons don't inherit an empty wine cellar.
Well, the thing about that dialogue, and a lot of the dialogue, that's a direct pull from Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, and you're going to hear me reference that a lot. Dark Knight Returns, one of my all-time favorite Batman stories, one of the all-time greatest comic books. Like, you'll never hear anybody argue that. I've heard people like say, like, well, it's kind of a little dated since the 80s. I disagree. It's amazing. I love it. I just reread it recently. It still resonates like crazy. But it cherry picks a lot of stuff from Dark Knight Returns that they don't earn in this movie, that don't make any sense in this movie. I'll get into some of the other stuff in spoilers, but I mean, they steal a little bit of the dialogue from it and some of the ideas and some of the visuals, but it's just taking, it was like Zack Snyder was going like, so Dark Knight Returns, for those who don't know, published in the 80s, I want to say 86, but I feel like I'm wrong, was published in 4 books. At the time, they were calling them prestige. They weren't just regular comic books. They had like a real spine on them, and it was 4 very long books. At the time, it was out of continuity. And each book kind of had its own story, but all combined into one. And book 4 is Batman versus Superman. It's like Zack Snyder skipped over the first 3 books and just picked things he liked from book 4. And even in that, part of what makes that book so interesting is you have a very, very conservative Superman at this point in time, and I'm talking the comic, not the movie. You have a world where there are no superheroes. They've all been outlawed, except for Superman, who is working under Ronald Reagan, and he orders Superman to go take care of Batman. So you have this kind of dichotomy of like hyper-conservative Superman and Batman, who's really down working with the people, who's doing things like taking guns, snapping them over his knee, being like, these are the weapon of the enemy. These are loud and clumsy. This is going to be important for later. But you have those 2 characters who have these different ideologies, and in this movie, they're not different. They're just like, who's the bigger asshole? No, this is how you should be. No, this is how you should do it. We're kind of the same, so we're going to punch each other.
There you go.
It doesn't work. We should talk about some things that are actually good about the movie. Right off the bat, movie opens, and we get credits. And I get a smile on my face, because we get, if you hear that noise in the background, I have a sump pump that goes on very regularly. Time it. Tell me how long it takes in between times it goes off. I'd like to know. I haven't tracked it.
Oh.
Help me with home maintenance. Yes. Listeners, help!
Again, the podcast is taking a turn for the worst.
But we have opening credits, and there's been this kind of long history of misrepresentation within, especially in the early days of comic books and comic book creators. Batman has always been credited as just a creation of Bob Kane, and only very recently, first time on screen, Batman created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger. So just in seeing, like, knowing how much that family had to go through and all of that and all of the legal battles, that immediately put a smile on my face. Like, all right, Bill Finger gets some credit. Some very due credit that he's never received.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, I think it's good with that. Zack Snyder is pretty terrible with dialogue. He is a really good visual storyteller.
Oh, the visuals in the movie were spectacular, I thought.
Yeah, he's very much show don't tell, which I'm on board with for the most part, but don't give that man a script where there's dialogue. Yeah. They have a lot of stuff with I like the relationships of a lot of the characters. There isn't like that kind of like hammy exposition, like you don't have Lois being like, Clark, how long have we been in a relationship? Like, they're just together, that's fine, you know it, you get it, you move on. Even a lot of the stuff with the Daily Planet, like Perry White, played by Lawrence Fishburne.
A black man.
Yes, Perry Black.
Perry Black.
It's not a good joke. It's been done.
But I really like Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White. I think he's great.
Yeah, and I think
a lot of the supporting actors in it were great. I liked Lawrence Fishburne. I love Jeremy Irons as Alfred.
I got this issue with Jeremy Irons though, where he's a crazy man. Like, and this podcast isn't gonna get political in any sense of the word, but there's this interview with Jeremy Irons where he's asked about gay marriage, and he says, like, well, why couldn't a father marry his son for tax purposes? He's like, it's not incest because it's not with a lady. So Jeremy Irons is crazy, and I can't not see him without thinking of that interview.
Well, I like him in this movie. I didn't know that about him, and I still like him in this movie.
It's really worth looking up. He's so earnest about it. Well, why couldn't a father marry his son? Like, I don't know, laws?
Okay, fair enough.
So Jeremy, I can't take him seriously just because I think he's a crazy man. We got some of the stuff with Lawrence Fishburne. I got because it was kind of this whole unspoken thing. He knows that Clark Kent's Superman. Yeah, and I like that you didn't have to that wasn't beaten over the head. Like it was there, it was presented. So stuff like that, that's good storytelling.
Yes.
This movie has good moments. I do not like this movie, but it has good moments. And I'm not going to take those away from it. It's like, it's 100% bad. Yay, Marvel. Boo, DC. I want this movie to be good.
Do you think, when you see, because you're going to see it again in the theater.
No.
You're not going to see it again in the theater?
No.
Really?
I'll check out the extended cut when it comes out. But,
That's why I texted you last night. You're like, I want to see it again.
Well, I do want to see it again.
But you're not
in the summer when the extended cut comes out.
Fair enough. It's like, it's not a movie I was clamoring to get back in. And like when after Star Wars, I wanted to turn right back around and go back in and watch it again.
We also watched that 2 days in a row.
We did. But anyway, continuing on, because we're 48 minutes in and we haven't even got to the spoilers yet. That's where I have my questions. Those are the things that I want to know about.
I can hit some of the other stuff. So Daredevil came out. Daredevil season 2 came out a week before Batman vs Superman, and it was there's been some kind of middle fingers to DC from Marvel, moving the Daredevil release date, throwing out the Civil War trailer, getting Spider-Man. But something that Daredevil does really well is it talks about, they got Daredevil and the Punisher, and I thought it was going to be 4 minutes. It turned out to be a 28-minute scene of them just yelling at each other, talking about their ideologies. That did that really well. That didn't happen in this movie. They didn't talk about it at all. They just started punching each other.
Yeah,
Batman showed up ready to fight, and they just started punching.
Yes.
And then they were super friends.
So, yeah, in a matter of an hour.
They didn't even fight for an hour and a half.
The fight was good. I thought,
5 minutes.
The fight, I enjoyed the fight. It had good moments. It was and it stayed true. From what I understand of the comic books and whatnot, Batman is the only person, aside from Doomsday, who killed Superman in the books.
No.
Batman isn't the only guy that's ever really kicked Superman's ass?
Plenty. It's happened plenty of times, and it also depends on what era you're in. Golden Age Superman could sneeze and blow up a solar system, but every time they kind of reboot, they knock his powers down a bit.
But I want to I'm trying. Are we into the spoilers yet? Can we start picking this apart a little bit?
All right. So before we get into spoilers, just if people choose to turn it off, I've come up with our famous patented system for reviewing things.
Okay.
And this is going to immediately fall apart within a week when we talk about something that isn't in theaters, but the rating system is going to be see it in theaters, red box it, or don't waste your time and better your life. Before we get into spoilers, what do you got?
See it in the theater. I think the extended cut's going to fill in some gaps probably, but it's one of those movies that the big sound, the big screen, the action, I feel like you need to see it in the theater.
I say red box it. I want to be contrarian, and I didn't appreciate spending that $10. Plus whatever I'll spend on the ultimate cut.
There you go.
That makes me sad. I'm waiting for
as we go forward, other things could be buy it now, wait till it goes on sale, or steal it from your friend.
No, our famous patented system: see it in theaters, red box it, don't waste your time.
So when there's no new movie to talk about next week,
yeah, it's gonna fall apart real fast.
Yes,
I think people get the gist of it. Look, I don't.
Zootopia, see it in theaters, red box it, or don't waste your time.
I've heard good things.
Oh.
But, also, I'm going to skip my review now. Red box it, because that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, there you go. You're a much more patient man. Not that I was ever clamoring to go see Zootopia in the theater.
Hey, I'll watch it. I loved Inside Out.
Well, no, it's not that I don't... I'm not going to go to the theater. That's a red box for me.
Yeah.
That's a red box it.
All right, spoilers. We're getting into them. First 3 minutes of this movie, did you know this? They just off Jimmy Olsen. You know that was Jimmy Olsen?
What? There's
a cameraman right in the beginning of the movie.
Or when they rehash the fight at Metropolis?
No, when off in the terrorist group. There's a guy who's taking pictures with the camera. I'm like, I wonder if that's Jimmy. Then he gets a bullet to the head. I'm like, guess it's not.
No, he was a CIA agent.
No, the credits roll James Olsen.
Oh.
It's Jimmy Olsen. They just offed him.
Jimmy Olsen. Okay, well, even
before
that,
who was looking for Superman's pal to turn into a giant turtle, not happening.
But before that, we got another Batman origin story.
It was 2 minutes, and they were like, Martha.
Yeah.
Be important.
Yes, which, again, I didn't know that, again, because I'm a comic idiot, I didn't know that Bruce's mom's name was Martha.
Yeah.
Oh, coincidence?
Yes, it's just a coincidence. It's literally never come up. I've never been like, Is your mom's name Karen? Let's be best friends. Let's be super friends. I just spit so far across the room.
That's how you introduced yourself to me 16 years ago. Hi, my name is Zach and my mom's name is Karen. Can we be friends?
Does your mom's name Karen? Get out. Look at us spit on you. I definitely
good thing my beverage wasn't open at the time. Okay, so yeah, I kind of like the rehash of the fight of Metropolis. I liked the different perspective.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what Bruce's motivation was. First of all, real quick, but who knew that Metropolis and Gotham were just right across the bay from each other? Like
Turkish Airlines knew. Turkish Airlines knew all along. You see that? Okay,
but like, why? So Bruce, like, flying over into Metropolis to Wayne Financial, which is one of the buildings that gets destroyed in the fight of Gotham, fight of Metropolis. Like, what is he going over there for? Like, they never explain. Maybe they do in the, like.
I don't think it really matters why he's there. He runs a multi-billion-dollar business. Assume it's in more than just one location.
He's going to like try and help. But why is he not going over as Batman to like kind of help out?
I don't think he knew. I think they just started blowing things up. I mean, and that I really like the opening of the movie because they have like all this. You saw it in the trailers, which you see everything in the trailers.
Yes.
But they got all the smoke coming down. Everyone's running away. Batman's running into it. That's what that was Batman.
No, I liked Affleck as Batman in this. I liked the different perspective. It stayed true to the fight in Man of Steel.
There's two things. Overall, I'm not even talking about the whole like Batman killing all that stuff. There's a couple of things that he did as Batman that overall I really liked him. He was probably my favorite part of the movie.
Batman?
Yeah, but the scene where the Flash time travels, which I heard like everyone in the theater was going, "That the Flash?" And me too. I'm like, who is that? Who's this weird helmet emo kid?
Which is interesting that they have like two different Flashes. They have the movie Flash and then they have the TV Flash.
Yeah, they don't really want to address that. Multiverse.
Yeah, well, because there's a Flash in every universe.
What I really liked about that, it wasn't the Flash, because that I really didn't like. It was like one extra story coming out of this weird dream sequence, which there were far too many of. But Batman's reaction, he sees someone time travel in front of him after having a vision of the future. This guy goes like, huh, weird. Like, I don't care if you've been punching thugs for 20 years. You haven't seen that before. Have a moat, man. Have a reaction.
Batman picked a hell of a week to stop smoking peyote.
Yeah, that was so understated. It's just like, huh.
Well, it was like a dream. It was like an Inception. It was like a dream within a dream because they had the whole dream sequence when.
No, the Flash time traveled. There was a time traveling man in front of him.
Yes, but like then he wakes up from a start from that after because he had that dream that he was in the Middle East and Superman ripped his heart out, a la, Temple of Doom, Kali Ma.
And again,
Kali Ma. I was hoping Superman would say that he put his hand on Bruce's chest. I was like, Kali Ma. But he like brutally cuts those other two dudes in half in that dream sequence with his laser vision.
I mean, that was all Darkseid. He runs the New Gods on the planet of Apocalypse. There's a K in there, by the way.
Oh wow, Apocalypse, very.
And you can see they travel across the universe in boom tubes. You see boom tubes in there. You see Apocalypse's Omega sign in the desert. You got his parademons running around like those are all the flying bug things.
See, those are things like as a casual fan, I had no idea what the hell was going on there.
But all that was in the trailer, so it didn't like surprise me.
Yeah, but again,
demons.
They remind me of the those aliens from Attack of the Clones that flew down during that battle on Geonosis. I know, I took it there. The deep, sad sigh.
Did it remind you of like Dexter Jetson, like the weird 1950s bar owner?
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, no, because he was fat. He was
I just want him to eat it.
He was a fat slob of a man.
I want everything to
terribly CGI'd against poor Ewan McGregor, who
doesn't quite hug him.
Yeah.
Unrelated to this movie.
Ewan McGregor, who carried 3 Star Wars movies that one of which was watchable, one of which was campy, and one which was god awful.
I don't know which ones you meant, but I got
the watchable one would be.
I got that one.
Watchable one would be Revenge of the Sith. The campy one is Phantom Menace, and the one that's just god awful is Attack of the Clones.
But less racist.
Anyway, moving back to Batman versus Superman.
All right. So what didn't you? Because I mean, it was a mess of a scene. But what did you get in there aside from it being awful?
Well, like even going like before that, like it just felt like you get jerked around early. You've got Batman's origin. Then you go 18 months later. Metropolis is getting beat up. But by the way,
with that one time where they decide to title the movie like the Earth meets Superman or whatever it
Yeah.
was, which is the only time that happens.
But like, why the hell would you want to live in Metropolis? Metropolis gets the shit kicked out of it regularly in this new universe.
I'm gonna go into.
Just like, why would you want to live in New York? All the bad things happen in comic books in New York.
Well, I'm gonna ask you the question I was honestly looking forward to the most in all of this.
Yes.
What was Lex's plan?
See, that is a great question. First of all, I liked Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I thought he brought kind of a bit of the madness to it.
Oh, I'm gonna get into that.
You didn't like?
No. I want to know what was Lex's plan. Then I'll talk about the whole Max Landis impression.
I don't know.
Loudmouth hipster.
I don't know. Like, again, maybe these are questions that are answered in the extra 30 minutes.
No. We can't judge it on that. We haven't seen that. We have to take it. This is the version of the movie that most people are going to see. Most people aren't going to go buy the extra 30 minutes.
I mean, I think
Those don't count. We haven't seen those.
Maybe he's looking for a nuclear deterrent. Maybe there's things that have happened. I don't know why he's so pissed off at Superman.
Or Batman.
Why bring Batman into it? Because he wanted Batman dead, but Batman also kind of does some of his dirty work for him unknowingly. But for being the world's greatest detective, he doesn't,
He doesn't detect anything.
Yeah.
But Lex has no plan. He's just
creating chaos.
Whole thing was.
Here's the
based on
question.
action.
Here's a thought. Is Lex being, because remember there's that painting in his house, and you were mentioning the really bad guy. Darkseid. Is he like? Do we find out maybe he's an agent of Darkseid?
Yeah, I'll get into that. I'm going to go back to just the Lex plan thing, because the Darkseid thing will kind of finish that off. It doesn't make any sense. He's trying to pit these two characters up against each other. They don't establish a reason for him to hate any of them. And I do not like this version of Lex Luthor. It's come out relatively publicly that all Jesse Eisenberg was doing was an impression of Max Landis, who's a writer. He has a pretty big internet presence. At the end of the day, Max Landis is a really good writer. And that's part of the problem, is he knows that he's a good writer, and he's just a loudmouth hipster who talks with his hands. The only thing, at least Lex had one color of hair, but all it was is a Max Landis impression. I don't like Max Landis to begin with. I don't need to see an impression of him in a movie. So even if there's a different impersonation of Lex, end of the day, different versions of a character, that happens. But at the end of the day, the absolute core of Lex Luthor, he loves Metropolis. The whole character arc is really just a love story with him in that city, trying to better it, trying to prove that he is better than this alien who comes in with all these gifts, that Lex is really the savior of Metropolis.
He just wants to be loved.
But in this, he's like, I'm going to make an alien, and it's going to mess everything up. And if it messes everything up, I don't really have a contingency.
See, do you think he knew that like he was going to make an alien like Doomsday like he made?
If he doesn't have any other plan.
Which you could see coming a mile away in the trailers when you saw General Zod's body. You knew, and then you see Doomsday in the trailer. In the last trailer that came out, where Wonder Woman that comes down.
No, that was the second trailer.
The second trailer.
The third one kind of redeemed it a little bit, because I had like Batman beating up all those guys.
Yes, you could see that Doomsday was going to be involved, and you knew that it was going to involve General Zod's body.
Yeah, and it didn't. Lex didn't have any kind of plan, and he's going off on this whole thing at the end, like, oh, now he knows that we're ready, and blah blah blah. Lex, movies don't need to be exactly like comics. That's fine.
But how does Lex love?
But they need to make sense. The movie has to make sense.
Yeah, exactly. What's Lex's endgame in blowing up a United States Senate hearing? Was he gonna try and frame Superman for blowing up the Senate?
Look, no one ever. They didn't even think that happened. Immediately he leaves, and they're like, "Oh, we know it wasn't Superman. It was this guy played by Scoot McNairy, who I find entertaining that he just scooted around in his little wheelchair."
Which, by the way,
his name is
Shades of X-Men.
His name isn't Scoot, by the way. He just got that name.
Charles Xavier called. He wants his wheelchair back.
Well, I guess that guy's name is Scoot because he used to scoot around on his butt, and his dad just called him Scoot.
Does Charles Xavier move his wheelchair with the power of his mind?
Depends.
Oh. Anyway. But no, Lex, what? I don't understand what Lex was doing the whole movie, but I kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was a neat little, again, going into it, I had to keep reminding myself, this is a different universe.
Do you remember
the stuff that happened in the Dark Knight movies isn't happening here. That never happened. Although I'd read that they wanted to get Christian Bale involved in some way, shape, or form. Not as Batman, but to help also differentiate. This is a different universe, which you shouldn't even have in the movie if you really want to differentiate. This is a different universe.
Do you remember Lex's last line of the movie.
Oh, the bell. Yeah, the bell ringing.
No, his last line was.
I think he was talking about the ringing of the bell. The bell's been rung.
No.
Yes.
I'm doing it better than he did. That's not how you end a movie. What was that?
That sounded a lot like the laugh box from the Joker in the first Batman movie.
Yeah. So apparently Darkseid's plan to come to Earth. Great, fine, whatever. I mean, I'm interested to see Darkseid, no question. I can't imagine, and this is just kind of going off of comics, like Lex teaming up with Darkseid. So they end on the whole. There's this line. I think there's this line coming. Like, it's gonna be really cool. Like, if we're gonna go this route, fine, whatever. But we have a way to make this really cool. Like, really dig it home. Think of Darkseid kind of has this call by his followers. Think of it as kind of like your Heil Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just Darkseid is. So I'm waiting for it. Like, all right, he's gonna do it. He's gonna. Darkseid is, and it's then just goes.
You've really practiced that.
I've had a couple of days to bounce jokes off of customers. Hopefully, some of them are gonna land. But that pissed me off so much. Come on, like you had that moment. You had that Darkseid is.
Did you see one of the deleted scenes that had leaked out where they had like this winged demon?
Yeah, that's this what's his name? Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah, not the band.
Magic Carpet Ride. And one of those. Again, see, as you listen to the podcast over time, you're going to realize that I'm an idiot when it comes to this.
Yes,
but I want to know. I want to learn. Zach's going to teach me. Zach will be my mentor. He's my Obi-Wan.
I just have a yardstick I'm going to whack you across the knuckles with.
Are you going to dress up as a nun? Because if you do, that's going to be a little weird, and I don't think I want to be involved.
I like that it's free-flowing.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that was...
Now, was that the same thing in the Cyborg scene?
Yeah, those are both mother boxes. Did you notice the guy who was playing Cyborg's dad?
No.
Same guy who played Miles Dyson from Terminator 2. So the guy who helps get Cyberdyne is making a cyborg in this. I was like, good casting.
Oh, question. Maybe this falls in...
Sure. Statement.
Yes. Maybe this falls into some of the Darkseid stuff. But why does Lex have all this information on the metahumans?
Fair question. Don't know. Doesn't make sense.
Why is he researching the metahumans?
Why does he have symbols for all of them in an email?
And why are they all the symbols that they are going to end up using?
Fair questions. Don't know.
Also, how did nobody else, like, when Aquaman takes a trident to that remote sub, why does nobody, like, alert anybody to the presence that there's some guy, with a trident just chilling in the ocean?
Because he's king of Atlantis.
Fair enough.
And that whole thing.
But then
that was the most ham-fisted way to introduce the Justice League.
Yeah, it was, And it was like, again, I think it's forcing it so they don't have to necessarily hit on a movie for each of them. But like in the Avengers, in the first Avengers movie, you'd already met all these characters, and then you get a rehash of all of them when Tony Stark gets the thing from Agent Coulson, and he opens it up, and it's got all the different Avengers.
Yeah, but at least they were established at that point. He also had the advantage of one of my least favorite things in movies, using footage from previous movies and act like it was security footage.
Yes. Photoshop filters. Wonder Woman. Your thoughts on Wonder Woman?
Totally pointless in the movie, but she was really good as far as what she did.
Yeah. I liked...
She really added nothing. I mean, she was good, but I'm just talking story-wise, she adds nothing.
No, I wish there was more Wonder Woman.
In Batman, the world's greatest detective is shooting her emails from his personal email. Like, what are you? It's not detecting. That's sending an email.
That's creeping. That's like he's sending a repeated Facebook request, and she keeps saying no. But it kind of had a Catwoman-esque feel to it. Is
this going back to your dating profile?
No. No.
Swipe right, ladies.
He did figure out that the picture was of her. Again, why is Lex all into the metahumans?
I don't know. It's not good.
I mean, you got to realize that Lex isn't going to stay in prison.
Well, it really ruins a lot of Lex stuff for the future. I mean, and I'm going to go back to the books. He becomes the president at one point.
He does.
He owns just so many businesses. I think at one point he owns the Daily Planet. It goes into all these different things.
I did like that line.
He's a convicted felon. He's got nothing.
I did like that line from Bruce Wayne when he and Clark Kent meet at Lex Luthor's party, and he's talking about the Daily Planet, and Affleck's like, "Is that the one I own?" It's like
he does own the Daily Planet at one point in the books. You know what? No, we're gonna jump forward to the fight itself because that's.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of filler in between that. I didn't like getting jerked around early. Somehow you're in the Middle East. Why are you in the Middle East? Only so you can introduce the bullet that was made by LexCorp. Why is LexCorp making, bullets, et cetera, et cetera?
So you can introduce C-list DC character KG Beast.
Okay, fair enough.
You'll never guess it is with the KGB.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm surprised, I know. All right.
I didn't even know there was a character called KG Beast, so.
Yeah. So, movie happens, and there's no reason for them to really fight. Like, it's not built up in any way. Like, Batman gets some sad letters. Superman is told he has to go bring Lex the head of Batman. But this, so 2 times in this movie, Lois Lane is in jeopardy. He is there instantly. We establish later on Lois is banging on the bot. She's drowning. Superman can hear it. This is talking with someone who has beyond human senses, X-ray vision.
Yeah.
We see him fly faster than the speed of sound. Lex is like, oh, by the way, your mom is somewhere here. I'm not going to tell you, but you have an hour to bring me the head of Batman. How about use that hour to go use all of those sonic boom plus flying and go find her?
Which, by the way, I was disappointed that we never got back to the Fortress of Solitude. I thought for certain we were going to get to the Fortress of Solitude.
No, you just wanted to watch Kevin Costner stacking rocks? Came
No,
out of
he
nowhere.
sounded terrible, by the way.
He looks like a bullfrog.
But he
Look at that
sounded,
throat. He's a bullfrog.
he had more of an accent in that movie than he did when he was in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
He's like, I killed some horses.
Yeah, but he sounded like he had like laryngitis or like.
Which was it? Was that a vision?
Did
Was
Jonathan
that a
Kent pick up
memory?
smoking in the afterlife?
Was that real? Was that a vision? What was that?
I don't know, but like yes, but it wasn't really like the Fortress of Solitude because it was just like the ship. But I was hoping that we would get some of that, get some Russell Crowe, get some Jor-El going.
Yeah, no, we had enough of one ghost dad.
But I mean, what, Bill Cosby, Ghost Dad?
No, no.
I guess it's 2 for 2 with like back-to-back Superman movies where Jor-El is in one and then not in the next. Maybe Russell Crowe wanted some Brando money or something.
They are just the exact same actor but at different points in time.
Fair enough.
So we get to the fight itself, which comes out of nowhere. So Lex says, bring me the head of Batman. Conveniently within that same hour, Batman is ready to fight.
Yeah.
He's just there. He's ready to go. Very convenient. It's that same hour that Lex was going for. So Superman tries to put off the fight for like a second. And then he could just fly above him like, hey, I know that we're both jackasses, but he has my mom. And now that I'm out of punching range, I'm just going to talk at you.
Yeah.
I'd like some help. If not, I guess I'm going to do it myself. Because, enhanced senses and fly at supersonic speeds.
You know what I enjoyed about Affleck's Batman, by the way, is he actually like was able to emote underneath the cowl. Like you could, like his eyes were expressive, and he had like some facial expression that you could pick up on. Unlike other Batmans, where they just kind of like played Batman like straight up like.
Where George Clooney looks like a bobblehead, or you could tap him on the top of his.
He also had the Bat card. Okay, I never leave home without it.
Yeah, I saw that in theaters. He's like one of the 2 people who saw that. I remember I saw that flick with my dad, and he survived so long in that movie. And then it got to the end when Arnold was like, "Take 2 of these and call me in the morning," and I just remember him going.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
He made it to like the end of the movie and just let out the most guttural like noise of shame and disappointment for being there for that long.
And why did the henchmen have hockey sticks? And more importantly, how did Batman and Robin hide hockey skates ice skates underneath their regular shoes?
They have webbed feet.
Fair enough. Aquaman, he's involved.
But so this is all convenient. And
see, I like the fight, again, I don't know. Okay, why is Batman so pissed off at Superman? Is it because he destroyed Wayne Financial Tower and?
It's because he was part of the piss jar explosion, 2016. It was egregious.
Well, the piss wasn't explosive. The wheelchair was.
The pee blew up. It was boiling hot.
Yes, I liked Holly Hunter as the senator. By the way, she played the role well.
I can't believe they got her in that movie.
Anyway, the fight.
So it's really contrived. There's no good reason to do it. It starts off, and this is where we start getting into a lot of the Dark Knight Returns cherry picking. So we got the suit. Suit is cool. We got a couple of shots. Shots are cool. In the book itself, Batman enlists the help of Green Arrow, Oliver Queen, who has had his arm ripped off by Superman, so he can't be arrowing anymore.
Fair enough.
But Batman gives him an arrow that has kind of a gas grenade of kryptonite. He pulls it back in his teeth and shoots it off. It looks really cool. And Superman gets a face full of the kryptonite, and he just falls down, and Batman just starts wailing on him. But they state very explicitly in that story, Batman's like, hey, I could have made it a stronger compound, but I didn't because I'm not trying to kill you. And this he's throwing, very slowly shooting grenades at Batman and at Superman and reloading. And he's doing nothing about it. And this is a Batman who's trying to kill him. So he's also a Batman who's bad at chemistry.
Yes. You can make the argument that, he doesn't really understand the Kryptonian compound. It's not like when Richard Pryor put cigarette tar in the fake kryptonite.
That's because this Batman is an idiot.
Yeah. See, I think he wanted to do it with the spear. He wanted to spear him. How did they get to Wayne Manor from the top of Gotham? Like, is the bat signal in Wayne Manor? Because didn't the fight end up at Wayne Manor? No.
I'm not going to try and explain
the location of the geography were confusing.
But they got stuff like that. That's dumb. There were parts of that fight. We saw most of that fight in the trailers, which was annoying. I think my favorite part was when Batman's just unloading. And this is a part I like, which I feel like I need to say what I like a part of this movie. When Batman's just unloading on Superman's face and the kryptonite gas is wearing off and his head just kind of turns a little bit at a time before he can kind of straighten his neck out, and Batman's just like, I need more of that gas.
Yeah. I starts punching him and his chin doesn't move anymore.
Yeah, where he's just bam, bam, and it just starts to go back to being straight in front of him, not moving. That was a really cool moment.
Yes. And then Superman just pushes him through two walls.
Yeah, he does that with a lot of people and kills them. Superman kills in this movie. He's like, I didn't kill anyone. Like, I don't think you understand how organs liquefy. If you shove someone through two cement walls, they die.
Yeah. But, okay, so they fight, right? And... Why would you say Martha?
Hey, what's your mom's name? How do you call your mom? Do you say mom?
Yeah, I call her mom.
Yeah, mom.
Yeah.
Mom. Yeah, I bring my mom up a lot in this podcast. Hi, Mom. I know you're listening because you're supportive and nice.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate you also sharing this with friends and maybe family.
She probably is listening in the background.
She's definitely disappointed.
I'm helping my son start a business, and this is what he's done.
Martha, why would you say that name? Okay, you said it yourself. World's greatest detective. Batman is the most anal retentive guy on the planet. He would have known that his mother name was Martha. He would have been like, that's a weird coincidence, all right. But in this case, no! How is that what stops the fight?
Question, by the way, speaking of names and knowing... How did Lex Luthor find out that Clark Kent was Superman?
Because he wears glasses. It was a bad disguise.
Was it when he access to the Kryptonian knowledge bank inside the... Well, why would you leave...
Well, he also knew that Bruce Wayne was Batman. He's just, not a moron. I guess.
I'm
really giving him a lot of
I like some of that dialogue, though, on top of the LexCorp Tower. I liked his line about, God can't be all good and all-knowing, and he can't be all... That whole...
between this and Man of Steel, I've had enough of, the whole Christian Judeo stuff. Let's just drop it. I get it. I'm sick of, the 33-year-old guy who went off to find himself and likes to hold his arms out to his side.
But, there's always been some messianic ties to Superman. Think about the Donner movie.
I don't need to be beat over the head with it all the time. And like I said, some of the stuff, Zack Snyder does do some good, subtle storytelling. He also does some really, ham-fisted, over-the-top, completely on the nose, and I'm running out of metaphor storytelling.
I want to know more about Lex's motivations. There's got to be a reason. He talks about his dad a lot, which to me is kind of Joker-like. Joker would always say, "You want to know how I got these scars?"
No. That was a terrible impression. I'm glad I talked over most of it.
Yes.
I
wasn't prepped for that.
you practiced for 8 hours.
You're the one that was making the Lex Luthor. Yeah. That sounds like a noise you'd make to entice an animal to or you're trying to coo a baby.
Where is he? Did he leave?
Oh, your cat?
Yeah,
he's gone.
I like what he's about.
Yeah,
good attitude.
He's like, this podcast is an hour and 20 minutes old, and you guys have bored me and I've left.
But so the whole thing with Martha, world greatest detective, he's not, shows up, kills a bunch of guys, which doesn't need to. That's the fun of Batman, is he gets into situations how is he going to get out of this without killing? And that's and
then he uses a gun.
Yeah, a couple of times. And that dialogue was right out of Dark Knight Returns too, but you didn't need to put him in that situation. It doesn't. Yeah, some lovely chewing noises. It's good.
My pizza.
It's good audio. Enjoy, listeners.
It's dinner.
10 at night. It's past the dining hour.
It's dining hour somewhere.
But then, so Batman goes and he saves Martha Kent, which I don't know why Superman signed off on that. He's like, I'll save Martha. It's like, hey, I got this. You know, I can do a lot more than you.
I can save her and then come back and fight Doomsday.
Like 3 seconds. So,
but still, it was a cool fight. I like that fight where Batman kicked the shit out of those guys.
Yeah, but then we get Wonder Woman pops up for some reason. Doomsday pops up for some reason, just so we can do the death of Superman. Just cram in one more storyline here.
There's a lot. There's too many stories. Again, I think it's all a product of their trying to play catch up to Marvel.
So, for those who can't see what I'm doing, which is pretty limited, I'm going off of notes here, and all I have down is Doomsday is extra dumb.
Yeah, it's a plot device to kill Superman.
It's wasted. It's all I have for a note.
He's wasted. It was cool. I enjoyed it. I mean,
I like how all Batman does in that fight. The whole thing with Batman is if he can plan for a fight, then he'll always win if he has time to plan. And then with the Doomsday fight, he just runs away. It's just a series of him running away.
Yeah. Can we also talk about, that's a rough night for Superman. Superman gets the shit kicked out of him by Batman. Then he gets blown up by a nuclear warhead.
Which, again, right out of Dark Knight Returns. And
then feeds off the power of our yellow sun. Comes back down.
He did it with sunflowers in Dark Knight Returns, so there you go.
Wow. Then he has to retrieve the Kryptonian spear out of the pool of water. And then he's able to fly the Kryptonian spear into Doomsday.
He lifted a whole rock of kryptonite in Superman Returns. Literally an island of it.
Yes, true. But so you talked about the strength of the kryptonite gas. It wasn't enough to kill Superman, but it was enough to stop Doomsday in his tracks.
I really like the that music cue because they go. I don't know who composed this flick, but it was the Superman theme from Man of Steel, which was the hopeful theme. Mm-hmm. And I like that they brought that back in that moment. That was good.
Yeah.
But then this weird cave troll ninja turtle just falls over and dies.
Do you think people in Metropolis would start leaving in droves? The next movie is going to be the housing crisis of Metropolis?
That was the... I can't remember if I mentioned it or not. I know I started to, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself. But that was the part that I laughed at, because they mentioned 3 separate times that it was unpopulated. I mentioned this already?
Yes, that was an unpopulated part of...
Yeah, so they're oh, good thing no one's here. But it was so bad. And then we go to the funeral, which we're just really cramming in there. Batman said, I know I said it already. I failed him in life. You met him twice. You tried to kill him. Maybe if you hadn't gassed him in the face so much, he wouldn't be dead.
It's fair. I don't know. The more I talk about it with you now, the more I'm I really did enjoy it. It's a good popcorn movie.
No, this is not a good movie.
I mean, you're
I wish it was. There's stuff I like. I mean, they hinted at, and you don't get any more in the movie than you do in the trailer, but the idea that there are Robins in this world. So I'm excited to see that. It looks like the second Robin, Jason Todd, is dead. So maybe we're going to get an Under the Red Hood movie, which would be really great. But it also means that Dick is probably somewhere out there in this DC extended universe. But, I mean, I'd really like to see, a solid version of Nightwing.
So now, here's the other question. Because you have Suicide Squad coming out, this is going to be in a totally separate DC universe.
No?
It's going to be in the same DC universe?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, Affleck's in that flick.
Is he?
Yeah, I don't think he's in it for long. It's going to be, because, hey, we haven't had any issues with flashbacks or dream sequences. He's going to be in a flashback taking down the Joker and Harley.
Ah, I like Harley Quinn.
And then, boy, so aside from me not, getting the dark side is that I wanted to hear, going back to, I don't know, an hour ago, I mentioned
Holy cow.
that Harry Lennox announced this movie, doing this whole Dark Knight Returns speech, where Batman beats Superman. He's like, I want you to remember, Clark, in your most private moments, the one man who beat you. And I'm waiting for this speech. It's coming. Yeah. It's coming. It's coming. And I get to this point, but no, it's not happening. We're not doing that thing, the coolest part from these books. We're not going to do that.
In the animated movie?
They did in the animated. Well, I mean, in the book, it's all internal monologue. In the animated flick, it's all out loud. But yeah, I was like, oh man, we didn't do the speech. This is the thing. This is what I was waiting for. And we didn't do it. This isn't a good movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, I liked it for what it was. I mean, again, not being the diehard fan, but I think there are going to be some diehard fans that maybe really enjoy it. And there's a lot of stuff in there that you have to be like really into the books to know. Like I had no idea about the Omega sign and
Mother boxes.
Mother boxes.
Steppenwolf.
I was like, oh look, it's like a dark tesseract.
You mean the Cosmic Cube?
Yes.
Learning things.
Isn't that? It's an Infinity Stone or gem or whatever. Infinity Rhinestone.
Look, just in the movies, it's the Cosmic Cube, which I wish. God, just say the cheesy name. It's called a Cosmic Cube.
Tesseract is more sexy though. Like a Cosmic Cube is like I don't know. It doesn't really have the same.
Why are cubes sexy?
I don't. I'm not saying a cube is sexy. I'm just saying
you just said that.
No, the name like Tesseract or Cosmic
also
Cube.
not sexy. Tesseract.
Cosmic Cube. It sounds like
it's like when I want the name of my future wife to be Tesseract.
Wow. Jeez. So, final thoughts?
It's entertaining, but I don't like it. It's not good. It's a mess, but...
You're probably the same kind of guy who boos Santa Claus.
No, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm more than just a fan. As someone who's going to make money off of this, I want this movie to be good. After Star Wars came out, people were coming in droves buying Star Wars stuff. Deadpool came out, people are coming in droves buying Deadpool stuff. You know who's coming in trying to buy Superman, Batman stuff? No one. No one who wasn't buying it before.
Yeah, I mean, I think trying to maybe explain to people, like, there's stuff that you missed in the movie. It doesn't make sense. You get these books so you understand better what was happening.
Hey, what a segue into our last segment of the evening
See?
or day, whenever. Yeah,
no, that's better. See?
Yeah, I'm so glad you paid for 4 years of college for that.
Still paying.
Oh,
still paying.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
English degree. I went to the English store and got a job.
There you go.
All right. So for any topic that we talk about, I want to give reading recommendations for said topic. For this week, you've heard me mention it many, many times. Go read Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, one of the greatest Batman stories and greatest comics you'll ever read. The other story that this is really going off of is The Death of Superman, which I am not going to recommend. Unless you're already reading comics, this is really, it's very 90s. It deals with a lot of C-list 90s characters, and it hasn't aged very well. If you're already kind of initiated into the world of comics, check it out, whatever, it's fine. If you're just getting into it, don't. Just read Dark Knight Returns. That'll be the way to go. And I guess that's going to do it for this week.
That sound is the sump pump telling us it's time to go.
Every time it goes off, it's trying to rush us out of here. Could that be our closing off catchphrase? Just the sound of the sump pump?
The sump pump. We just got to wait till it happens.
No,
keep it under an hour and a half, or just about an hour and a half. That's not bad.
We have seconds to go. All right, see you later. Bye.